Hello, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another episode of the Shenanigans Podcast. I'm here with my co host, Greg,
Hello.
and today's theme is all about summer because we are in final season and I'm already over it. so, our first discussion point is year round schooling. Greg, how do you feel about it?
Um, well, personally, I'm not a fan. I much rather prefer having a lot of work during the winter and fall and spring, and then having the summer to work on some like other personal project or just to relax after all that time of work. Personally, I think the fact that like you could do a break after like your midterms or finals, like I see where that's coming from, and I wouldn't mind it. I'm just more preference towards a summer break. What about you?
Well, I don't vibe with that option as much because I dislike having a large amount of stress at one time, and I feel that having like the summer split into little different sections, especially after the semester marks, is super beneficial for just winding down and processing the information you just learned. Also, that's a whole nother thing about retention over summer because most of us don't like study or do anything.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I also agree that like I feel like yeah, sometimes it can be really stressful and you're gonna have to spread out the school year some bits. Like I do agree that the school year should be spread out a little bit more, but I still think there should be a central break where students can finally relax and have just for a good amount of time not have school on their minds. But I mean, I feel like my main issue with having a long, having a fully spread out school year is that it feels like you never get away from school. Like it's always gonna be on your mind, even if you have like a month break. Like you'll still realize, okay, by the end of this month, I get to go back to school. I just feel like a break from school is what I would like to see. But the thing is, I still agree that the school year should be spread out, you know?
Yeah, I definitely think that we should have that summertime off, that reset, but I don't think it needs to be like traditional schools do it about 2.5, 3 months long. The school that Greg and I attend runs about, I think, 2 months to the exact date.
It
So
does,
that's a little
yes.
bit better. Yeah, and then we get more like four day breaks in between. So the days are covered relatively. So we get the same amount of time off, but it's a little bit more relaxing and spread out in terms of actual like scheduling throughout the year, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so what are you gonna do with your exactly 2 month long summer?
Well, um, because in um 11th grade, even though we have stuff like college prep meetings and stuff like that, I feel like I feel like that whatchamacallit? Um
Oh, I don't know, man.
okay, yeah, let's talk about college. Yes.
Oh, college apps and the like.
Yeah, so I can like actually start prepping for college and like writing my essay, drafting my essays prehand
Oh
beforehand.
man, you sound like a nerd.
Honestly, it's smart because like you don't have to worry about it later when you actually have school. So I feel like that break is actually something where you can have like it's allocating for a time to actually spend on colleges rather than just mainly schoolwork. Rather than if it's all spread out, you'd have to focus on colleges and schoolwork simultaneously.
See, I think they're one and the same, and I like spending break actually breaking. Um, which is nice for my mental state. I can't touch and go all the time, so I appreciate like the little gaps like this. Even being home, as much as it sucks, in this whole quarantine and whatever, it is like a lot easier for me to manage me time versus school time because I don't have to commute 30 minutes one way to school almost every day.
Yeah, I mean, the college thing, it doesn't have to be like the entire summer. It just needs to be like a section. Like I also need a mental break during the summer. It's not like filled with personal projects or summer or like college prep. It's like you'd have you'd allocate a few days here and there for college prep, and then you have the rest of the week off. The reason why I dissociate college prep and schooling in general is that I feel like schooling is more of like your ability to learn and your ability to get things done, and then college prep is more of you trying to prep for your upcoming years, not in the sense by learning things, but by presenting yourself and like um what's the word? More like figuring out what you want to do when you go older, rather than just learning about specific subjects. I almost kind of categorize school as just all just busy work, and then college stuff for the actual important stuff that matters.
I think that's a little bit crass of an assumption to make. I think we're still being taught very useful analytical skills that will come in handy in college. And yeah, you're right. College, or at least the applications process, has a lot to do with, in blunt terms, essentially selling yourself to this university to try to,
Yeah.
convince them that you are, in a sense, worth it and worth their time. And I get that. I just when I think of summer, that is not my idea of summer. Especially because I am currently not sure of what I want to do or where I want to go. So the last thing I want to think about when I'm supposed to be having a mental break is the one thing that's causing me the most detrimental amount of stress besides my finals at the moment.
Yeah. And honestly, summer doesn't have to be college prep. It's just whatever you want it to be. And I feel like that's the reason why, or whatever you want to do with it. And I feel like that's the reason why I like summer. Having excuse me, sorry. Like a summer where you can just do whatever you want. You can go any path that you want rather than just being stuck with what is taught in school. And yes, I never said that like school doesn't give us good analytical things, because it does. It's just those
Oh, you
analytical.
just you referenced it as busy work, so
Yeah, I know. I reference it as busy work because it's not okay. It's not technically busy work. I just like to categorize in my mind as busy work because it's just I don't know. I think it's just a different category, but I don't think busy work would be technically the right words to use. Now I'm thinking back on it. I just think that the stuff that you learn in school is helping you for college, and then when you actually go and apply for college, you use the stuff that you used in school in presenting yourself. So, I guess yeah, I kind of said words that weren't most accurately what I was trying to convey, but yeah, I get your point.
yeah. With just an observation, not as a any kind of offensive nature to this. I think you and a lot of other kids, even me, to romanticize the idea of summer as this like huge just ball of freedom that we can shape and morph to our heart's content. But the one thing I find myself being slapped with at the beginning of the next school year is A, how short it was, and B, how little I did. So I feel like going in with these high expectations drops you the same way that New Year's resolutions do.
Oh, I mean, speaking of New Year's resolutions, though, I think that kind of mindset is easily like solidified through like okay. So I once read an article about how why New Year's resolutions pretty much always fails. Well, generally. Um because people make too specific goals for themselves. Like let's say you make too many specific goals or too many like goals that are pretty much unable to achieve. Like, okay, during the summer, I'm gonna read books like every week or something like that. Or for my New Year's resolution, every weekend I'll work out every other day or something like that. But like, having like a more of a general plan for the summer or for your New Year's resolutions actually it increases the productivity of like your summer or year because like saying let's say instead of saying I'm gonna read every other day during the summer and then some days obviously you're gonna have to be exceptions, that's gonna be breaking your New Year's resolutions. But instead you could say like every like generally I'm gonna read more during the summer than what I have been before. And then you can like start going on a path of like your own and say, hey, okay, well these days are a little bit more busy for me, and I can just use these other days and start reading more like that. So it doesn't have to be like a specific plan for yourself.
I think the fact that that has to be something there's an article written about is a little bit scary. Um, that has always been my idea of a goal because cookie cutter ideals like working out every day or setting these super high expectations will not work. And I learned that lesson trying to overload myself with school and the like. And I guess it's just a lesson everyone has to learn. But now that I understand it, it comes as this like, yes, the sky is blue kind of moment. Yeah. Um, So yeah, one of the things I'm looking forward to the most during the summer is volunteering, especially if quarantine ends, then that means it's going to be relatively okay for me to hang out at nursing homes, which those old ladies are a riot of fun.
Oh, well, speaking of nursing homes, I was also gonna think about volunteering um for my uncle at a nursing home during the summer. And I did this before for National Honor Society, of course, but I was actually gonna do it either for I haven't actually decided yet, but I'm probably just gonna do it either way, like if it's gonna be for school or not, but just like volunteer there. Um, and because I've been wanting to spend more time with my uncle, and so I feel like summer would be a great time to volunteer and do like service hours there. And yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that summer is like a time for resetting and just a kind of like a rebirth moment almost, just like following spring and all of this growth and the like, and finally getting a break from busy school lives at the very least. And I think service is a really nice way to do that, where like service jobs aren't hard. Like it's very rare, at least in my experience, to find something in like volunteering or like giving your time to some kind of organization that is a difficult task. It just like it's a little bit mind numbing and it just allows you to almost like reset yourself, which I enjoy. It's this kind of like bumblebee behavior almost of just like being a worker bee and having one job and only having to focus on one thing rather than like six or eight different classes.
Yeah. I mean, I, I I agree with that actually. And well, like speaking of volunteering stuff, is there like how do you think of those like volunteering things? Like, do you I don't know how to phrase this, but like is volunteering um something like that can be like hindered by like a lot of like schoolwork and stuff like that? And so like I feel like summer would then be a great time to like volunteer. Like the most applicable like time for your schedule would be like during the summer when like it's busy work and schoolwork and stuff like that is not in the way.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. It's definitely an open thing. And the last thing you want to be in the summer is bored because I believe that boredom leads to two things, either hunger or sadness or both. And but not the kind of like actual hunger, like the boredom hunger where you're like, am I bored or am I hungry? You're bored. Don't do it. Um, so keeping away from that boredom is super good in my opinion, and volunteering is one of the easiest ways to do that because like I'm positive that there are places around like each and every one of you that are looking for able-handed people to volunteer.
Yeah, and I think that kind of sentiment is pretty much all. I think we can end off on like that. Um,
Aw, positive takeaway time. Yay.
yes. Uh, I think this discussion was pretty enlightening. I really enjoyed this one, and I guess with that, we're pretty much all out of talking points. So, hope you enjoyed episode 7 of the Shenanigans Podcast, and tune in next time at Friday 3 p.m. next week. See you later.